That's on. Gotta put this one on. 3, 2, 1.
Yay.
We're all caught up. Hello, Patriots. Welcome to Stand United, where we try to unite the people against these tyrannical politicians. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Hope you joined us at home. So, Jack, what are you going to talk about this week?
I'm going to talk about the Republican candidates running for president in 2024. I'm not going to do the Durham report this week because I printed it out, but I just want to...
Is it 300 pages?
No, this is just section 4, background facts and prosecution decisions.
Okay.
And then I got, but I'm not going to go over that today, but this was probably about 30-something pages. And then I got 2 more piles just like this, or 3 more. It's almost got all of section 4 in it.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's got literal text messages between the FBI talking to each other about, being a banana republic and getting this candidate Trump out of the way so Clinton can come in and be the 3rd term of Obama. And,
they almost succeeded.
well, I think they did. I think it took them 4 more years than they wanted it to, but they got him out in 2020 because I don't think that election was the right one either. But
me neither.
And so I just want to go through it really. I mean, it's very amazing. I mean,
I started reading it last week.
This here part 4 it literally splits it in half of what they did at Clinton and what they did on Trump.
Okay. I'm going to talk about immigration and what we should do with Mexico. And what I saw reading the news earlier. But before we get into that, thoughts and prayers go out with Guam. They got hit with the worst typhoon ever. So they're underwater. We wish them a speedy recovery. I don't think there were too many deaths. But they still got walloped. We got a storm brewing off our coast here eventually. We're supposed to get soaked the next 5 days.
Should keep Bike Week quiet.
Yeah, you should. Nice and quiet.
Yeah.
You want to go first or want me to?
No, you could go for it, right? Didn't you? You wanted to go first.
All right, let me lead off with this. I'm so tired of these politicians out here. There's just one more thing to add as to why I'm so tired. 48 House Democrats signed an open letter to support large-scale Israeli protest. That was the headline. They support Israel citizens to protest their government because Prime Minister Netanyahu, whatever, wants to make changes to their judiciary. Hey, listen, they have the right to protest anything they want as long as it's peaceful. Just like we can do to our government. I do find this ironic, though. Democrats have openly said here in the United States they want President Biden to expand our Supreme Court.
Yes. They want 13.
And they want to make it liberal so their agenda can get pushed through, no questions asked.
Legislating by the bench.
Yep. What I find hilarious is that if we, the people of America, protested against this expansion here, these moron Democrats would call us domestic terrorists. We'd be a threat to the democracy of America. They would try to silence us from day one. And so we have remained silent for way too long. Democrats would tell us, we can do it under the Constitution. I also find that funny because they want to delete our Constitution except for when it benefits them.
Well, they're trying to push the debt ceiling through.
I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
The 14th Amendment.
Yep. I'm not going to get into the 14th Amendment. I'll let you get into that. We have a debt ceiling crisis right now in America, and the only thing these politicians say is there will be serious consequences if we don't raise the limit. No one has said what those dire consequences are, and I really don't believe the U.S. would run out of money that fast. I say this because
I think they're out of money already.
I overpaid my taxes by a few $100s, and I'm getting a refund sent back. They sent me a letter. For the next 6 weeks, I'm going to get a refund. So I don't think the U.S. Treasury is out of money. Honestly, I don't believe they are. I think they'll be able to last a couple months.
I think they can last as long as they want. They don't pay any bills.
Yep.
What bill has they ever paid?
It's a scare tactic as usual. But then these people fall for it. I mean, you always hear these Democrat politicians blaming Republicans for making America suffer through these negotiations. It's their fault if bills aren't paid and if people have to wait for their money. It's not our fault.
You know what doesn't close down though? Their gym or their cafeteria.
Or their paychecks.
No, their paychecks never stop.
Like AOC saying the other day, the stakes of a default cannot be understated. Ocasio-Cortez said on CNN Tuesday. The chaos that would ensue and the impact on people's everyday lives would likely be immediate. It is one of the reasons why we need to take default off the table, the Congresswoman continued. Republicans need to agree to raise the debt limit because, frankly, this is a very serious situation that nobody wants, she added. This is not a partisan issue. My question is, what solutions has she offered?
More spending?
More spending. I mean, I'll wait. Of course, nobody's going to answer that. Because nobody can. Nobody can dispute that. I bet these tyrants will still be receiving their salaries. These politicians make me sick. Make me sick, Jack.
Yeah. They,
You talking about the 14th Amendment?
well, I don't have it with me right now.
Okay.
But it's the 14th Amendment. I think it's
They can raise
Section
taxes anytime they
4.
want.
Section 4 of the 14th Amendment.
Where they can raise taxes anytime they want.
Yeah. And the reason why that was put in there was because that was after the Civil War. So they were doing the reconstruction of the South, and they needed that to be done to rebuild the South.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that needs to be rebuilt now, except for Washington, D.C., and not the city of Washington, D.C., the hallways of Washington, D.C. needs to be...
Talking about the politicians, folks.
Right. That needs to be redone.
The bureaucracy has to go.
Well, again, the bureaucracy is so big and so corrupt that even the corrupt appointees that are running it can't stop it now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just rolling.
We the people can stop it.
I don't know. I mean, we can, but I don't know if the people are willing. We sit here every week and say, these are the things. Educate yourself. Read the Constitution. You know there are certain things that they're not allowed to do, but you don't know why. So why would you not show yourself why?
Right.
I mean, it's all right there. The Founding Fathers laid it out not for them. They knew it, and that generation knew it. They developed it. They did all of this writing and put it down so future generations, innumerable amount of generations down the road, will be able to understand the Constitution of the United States,
right.
The law of the land. But today's American society, we're too busy. We have to do TikTok videos. We have to talk to people on Facebook. We have to watch reality shows on the Idiot Box.
The View.
I was thinking today, I was sitting outside, and you know what you don't hear in the neighborhoods anymore? And when I was growing up, this was a constant. It was almost like a humming noise that never went away. I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, you know what? No neighborhood in the world. There are no neighborhoods that you hear this anymore. Kids laughing out in the neighborhood.
Right.
You don't hear kids outside laughing and playing tag or hide and seek, kick the can, wiffle ball, basketball. You don't hear kids laughing. You don't hear those little laughs of little kids playing hopscotch. God bless you.
Hey.
Bless you.
So where is everybody?
They're all in their house playing video games, watching TikTok.
Yeah. So.
Not me, though. I can't play video games.
No, I don't play video games.
I can't watch TikTok. I'm too old.
I don't like. I don't want China in my living room, so I don't have TikTok. Facebook, I go on every now and then, and I never had Facebook until we started doing this. And I go on it a little bit because of friends that I've lost. It's good to see them, that I've lost contact with over the last 30 years. And then once I get caught up in what I'm back off Facebook again. I don't go back on it again. But, I fill my time up doing this. I work 3 days a week. I join a few different things, organizations I joined. I go for, I do exercises. I know it doesn't look it, but I started doing that. And I walk 3 miles a day and stuff like that. But as I'm doing this, I live in a resort. And there are kids there. In the middle of summer, we hear kids laughing and stuff like that in the pool and stuff. And that's different. They're on vacation. But as soon as they get back home, they don't have the same atmosphere as they do when they're on vacation.
Nope.
But I can't even tell you how many times I sit there and I watch a little kid swimming around in the pool with no parents. You want to know what the parents are? Sitting up on the patio with their face in their phone, talking to whoever is more important than than their kids playing in the swimming pool. So, do they give a rat's ass of what's going on in Washington, D.C.? They can't even care what's going on at the end of their nose while their kids are playing in the pool. So, anyway, that's disheartening. I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer, but...
No, it's just reality today.
Yeah. Did you want me to get in this?
Sure.
All right. So last week we showed you that the government investigated an American citizen who decided to run for president, and with no other cause than their ideology, they spent millions of U.S. dollars and resources to cause 2 impeachments, 2 separate government investigations from the Department of Justice, the Mueller report and the Durham report, all discovering no wrongdoing by Trump. Meanwhile, there was so much wrongdoing going on by the Clinton, it caused the CIA to call a briefing to the President of the United States, Obama, his Vice President, his Attorney General, the Director of the FBI, and other executive staff members. And at the end, nobody was held accountable, while making America look like buffoons and sophomores.
These politicians do a pretty good job of making us look like buffoons.
So, I'm going to go over the Republican candidates.
How many we got this year?
So far we got Asa, Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, this other guy, we got Vivek Ramaswamy, and we got this other guy, Perry Johnson, Asa Hutchinson.
And now DeSantis.
So, what's your opinion on the ones, because I have all this written down, but what's your opinion on these guys and gal?
I like Tim Scott because he's from South Carolina. And he, him and DeSantis came from really nothing and moved up to become who they are today. Trump had everything handed to him growing up, but he's worked hard for what he's got.
Yeah, I read a book on Trump, and he really blew his father's business beyond reproach.
Mm-hmm.
The guy owns a $100 million plane, for goodness sake. His father would have never been able to do that.
Nikki Haley, once a Trump supporter, once a Trump hater, then a Trump supporter, now a Trump hater. So you can't have that. And I know politics is a weird game, but I don't think she's ready to be president. I think a Trump-DeSantis ticket would probably be the best bet, or DeSantis-Trump ticket.
Well, he's never going to
right.
That. But, it would be interesting, though, because there is no limit on vice presidency. So
that's what I would like to see.
It'd be different for that. He could do the full 8 years as vice president, but I don't think he would go down to that. It's an all or nothing for billionaires. That's the way they see it.
Yeah, but I think that team would be unstoppable.
Yeah.
I think Trump, I know the Republicans want him, that most of the people want him, but the establishment doesn't.
Well, there's the problem. Anything the establishment doesn't want, I want.
Right.
Well, here's my deal. So Donald Trump, we know him. We know his candidate. Myself, I believe he did the most for our country while he was the president.
He did a lot.
But I personally don't think he's going to make it to the end.
Think they're going to charge him?
Yeah, and the Department of Justice is about to indict him over the raid at his home for obstruction. The New York indictment is going to go to trial 3 weeks after Super Tuesday in March 2024. And then they have all the other cases, Georgia. I mean, and this is what we know of.
Right.
We don't know what they don't have. And, I mean, for myself, in a perfect world in my mind, and, that's a scary place to be, but, I feel like a Trump presidency with a guy like, I have a few things with Ron DeSantis, and I'm going to go over that probably last, because he was the last one to announce. I think that would be perfect for Ron DeSantis because it would give him 4 years of getting ready and understand. Here's the problem with Ron DeSantis for me. He doesn't know how to make a deal and finish it to the end. And I'll go over that when I get to his name. So, but I would think in 4 years as a vice president, that's a huge learning curve for him to figure out how this man is operating the world. Because he operates it differently than anybody else did.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was basically, listen, this is the way it is. You don't like that deal? Then we take everything. When it, and then there was other cases too. So anyway.
You also do Trump, Tim Scott.
Here we go. So Nikki Haley. If she makes it to the end, I wouldn't vote for her. I just wouldn't vote for president. I'd vote for the downside ticket. Because when she left the governor's office, she was the governor of South Carolina for 2 years, and she did a good job. But she had to leave. And she had to leave. Why did she have to leave? Because the country called her to a bigger, more important issue that needed to be. And she was the ambassador to the United States in the UN in Manhattan. And she did terrific work for that while she was in there. The problem is, she was only there for 9 months. And then she had to leave this terrifically, unbelievably important job that she had to leave the other important job of leading South Carolina for, so that she could become a chairman for Boeing. So she was self-serving the whole time. So if this was her stepping stones in her life with her first, all right, now there's another person that was part of the administration that never put himself first, and that was Mike Pompeo. He was ready to go home, back to his business, a successful worldwide business he owned. But the country called him, and he went. And never looked back. That was it. She looked out for herself all the way through the end. And I wouldn't vote for her. I just, the United States was second. She left an opportunity. I mean, for goodness sake, you were in Manhattan as an ambassador to the United States. You didn't even have to leave this country. Right. I mean, for what? For a chairmanship for Boeing that has nothing but government contracts? So tell me that wasn't, quid pro, whatever that is.
Quid pro.
So there's she's off night. I wouldn't. Then there's this other guy. His name is Vivek Ramaswamy. He's described as a healthcare and tech sector entrepreneur, best-selling author, conservative commentator, and crusader in the culture wars. All right? He wrote a book this year. He wrote another book about wokeism. But this year, come out in April, Capitalist Punishment. And he states all the proceeds are going to go to... that he collects from this book is going to go to donate it to Color Us United, a nonprofit that he has taken legal action against the American Express for discriminating on the basis of race as part of its racial equity agenda. He also had a heated argument with Don Lemon on CNN in Don Lemon's morning show just before he got fired. And a lot of people say they believe that that was one of the other contributing factors to Don Lemon losing his job. So this guy here, he's worth I don't know the exact number, but let's just say $500 million because of these businesses he started. His mother was a pediatrician, I don't know what kind of field it was, and his father was pretty successful too. So he comes from a successful family. You know, smart. He's very smart, and he definitely believes on being judged by the content of your character and not the color of your skin.
Someone else did too.
Yeah, right, exactly. And you know, his parents immigrated here from India. He was born here in Ohio. The problem with him, I like the way he talks. I've listened to him a few times and I read about him. Very, very good. Here's the problem I have with him. Number one, he's only 37 years old. And number two, I don't think he has the name recognition. You need name recognition. So I think the best bet for him to do is to continue running for president. But as the issue starts going and he doesn't gain traction, because I don't believe he's going to.
Should definitely be a cabinet member.
Right. I think he should go into to be a cabinet member in an important job. I believe because he's an entrepreneur, so his thinking style is much different than Washington, D.C. So it's going to be completely thinking outside of the box, and that's what made Mike Pompeo so successful in what he did. Like, you know, Washington, D.C. is your typical bureaucracy, defeatist attitude. Oh, you can't do that. Why? Well, because you just can't. Well, how about we try? No, don't try. You know, and then you have to come up with all of these entrepreneurial, out-of-the-box thinking to get these people to realize it was their idea and start making these programs work the right way. So it would be good for him to become a cabinet member. And this is what I say. You know, the Republicans' bench is super strong. It's super deep. The problem is I don't think any of them are really ready that are running right now that can get in there and do it. Not because, again, I think, just like in 2016, we need a president that's going to take all the oxygen out of the room when he walks in and just lay it down the way it's going to be. So the next guy I got is Perry Johnson. This guy, he's a mess. He ran for governor in Michigan, but he didn't meet the requirements of 15,000 valid signatures, and he didn't appear on the ballot. And that was after he sunk $1.5 million into his campaign. So I think he should have got that done first and then spent $1.5 million. So he just walked away from that with that. His company, he's a mess. This guy is just, I think he's running for president because he's kind of doing a reality show of his president campaign. You know, they're flying him around in his own private jet, and he's showing you what you got to do to run for president. And I think he's getting paid to run for president because, let me see where it was. His company had a conflict of interest with Boeing. Japan's Accreditation Board of Conformity Assessment suspended him. And in '94, his company was sued for violating FCC Telephone Consumer Protection Act of 1991. That lawsuit went from 94 to 2001. So this guy's even the country of Japan is like, you can't do business here. So I don't think he's going to be no good at all. I put this guy, Perry Johnson, in the same category as Nikki Haley. If there was some kind of miracle where all the star and moons aligned, I would just not vote for president that year. Then we have Asa Hutchinson.
Just do a write-in.
Yeah.
Dennis Gravel.
Yeah, right. Asa Hutchinson. He served 2 terms as Arkansas governor. He was also a former federal attorney and a Department of Homeland Security undersecretary during the George W. Bush presidency. So, that being said, as soon as you hear somebody with George W. Bush, guy hates Trump. So, that's the only reason why he is running for president, because he's picking up the baton from the other Bush that ran in 2016. What was his name? Jeb. Yeah. He's trying to make up for Jeb. You know, it's the Karl Rove, this, that. So I don't even think I think the only TV show he's ever went on to talk about anything was Fox. I don't even think he goes on anything else. I think he's just, he's there. Then there's Tim Scott. I like Tim Scott. But I have a feeling just like Ramaswamy, I don't think he has enough name recognition. That being said, I mean, this man came from insurmountable comeback, raised by a poor single mom. Yeah.
Where he is now.
His own grandfather didn't know how to read.
True success story.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Again, he's very young. No, well, he's not very young. He's our age. But
he's very young.
Yeah. But I don't think he has the name recognition also, number one. Number two, I think for him, again, if Trump was able to make it and Ron DeSantis was the vice president, I think a great test for this guy to be the guy right behind Ron DeSantis will be Secretary of State. Because that would really show his diplomacy. Now he's got to be a diplomat of the world. And, I feel like besides President of the United States, the most important job in our government, as far as the world goes, is the Secretary of State. That's the one that goes there, beats everybody up, softens the underbelly, and then the president comes in and looks great because of this guy's work.
Right.
And I think that would be an awesome, awesome thing for him to do, is to have Trump get elected and him become the Secretary of State. And then when, in the perfect world again, DeSantis gets elected after the 4 years of Trump, maybe he become the vice president or something like that, and then he could come swoop in right in behind. Because I think he has that ability. And I tell you what, if he does 4 years as the Secretary of State, he might make a better president than Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is younger than him. Maybe they switch roles, and Ron DeSantis has to wait in the wings.
Right.
Now to get to Ron DeSantis. Why this man is running, I can't figure out. I don't know why he's running.
He quietly signed a bill that let him stay as governor, too.
Yes, he did. Here's my problem with Ron DeSantis that I have. My biggest problem with Ron DeSantis is that Karl Rove is in his corner and all the Bush people. And ever since he picked these people up when he started considering running for president, his message has been weak. It hasn't been that strong Ron DeSantis when Trump was backing him, So I think if he wanted to become a serious candidate, to be himself, he would have to get rid of these people that are guiding him right now, the Karl Roves. I think Karl Rove is a marshmallow and is way past what the country needs. There's another factor that we have. Now, I like what he did to Disney, and he took those special rights away and stuff like that, but it wasn't diplomatic. It was, there was no deal making. That's what I'm saying. Like, he needs to learn how to make a deal. See, it almost seems, and I don't know, but it almost seems like as I was watching these reports coming out of these deals that Trump made, everybody was happy. North Korea couldn't get enough of the guy. Oh yeah, Trump showed us how beautiful our shoreline could be, how we could build these things. The deal he made in the Middle East, everybody was happy with. The ones that weren't happy were our enemies, China, Russia, and they shouldn't be happy.
Nope.
They should be on notice. That's one thing with Ron DeSantis. I don't think he, like I said, he had this. The other thing with Ron DeSantis is, and all of them really, and this is why I don't understand why Ron DeSantis is running right now, because he's just got to be a yes man to what Trump did, but, and when you're saying but, you're not winning. When you say, yeah, that's exactly what I would have done, but, as soon as you say but, everybody just wants this, I don't want to hear it.
Right.
So, I don't understand. So, he has to disagree with the district attorney in Manhattan did. He has to disagree with what the FBI did raiding his home, which he already did. He has to disagree with the indictment that's going to come down for obstruction. He has to disagree with Georgia and the trial that's going to come 3 weeks after Super Tuesday in March. But, so how do you agree with somebody that you're running against so much and then differentiate yourself from it? You have to agree that this man has been wronged. You have to agree, and you have said words about what happened with the 2020 election. You know, and now you're going to... I just think it was... whoever was advising him, I don't think they did a good thing. I think if he would have just sat out for another 4 years, he'd have been that much stronger in 4 years. And that's my opinion. That's my opinion on the Republican ticket.
So your perfect ticket would be a Trump DeSantis.
My perfect ticket would be Trump, DeSantis,
And Tim Scott.
Tim Scott, and Vivek in the cabinet, and then go from there. Very important for whatever Republican, if a Republican gets elected into office, their biggest thing they have to do on day one is clean house in the State Department, the Department of Justice, and the FBI and the IRS, and that's the heavy lifting. That's a lot of what but you gotta clear those houses out. And you know, Trump was the right thing. You know, the Republicans in the House squashed a deal to build another building for the FBI. And if there's a Republican president that comes in, they should take that money and say, yeah, okay, we're gonna transfer the entire FBI over into Oklahoma or South Dakota or someplace like that.
I'd really like to see it like a DeSantis Trump, because Trump could be having, you know, he could show him the way how to do it the right way.
Right.
That's why I'd like it that way.
I think that's the only thing that DeSantis... There's two things in DeSantis' problem. There's three, really. Karl Rove. He agrees with Trump, and he doesn't know how to make the deal. You know, he learned from Trump the let me take the oxygen out of the room, but he doesn't know how to make the deal.
So I want to talk about immigration. You know, that's a sticking point with me.
Yes.
As we all know, every presidential administration, as well as Congress, has failed to secure our border with Mexico. President Trump tried to secure it, but had pushback from within his own party, the Republican Party.
Thank you, Paul Ryan.
And Paul Ryan, who was House Speaker at the time.
Mitch McConnell.
Since 1990, the first President Bush was in office, and every year since, over 1 million illegal immigrants have crossed into the United States. So we added up to about 32 million people over the last 33 years. So people like to blame Democrat administrations, but it's also Republican administrations that have failed our country. And Mexico has the highest number of citizens coming to America compared to all other countries, accounting for 25% of all immigrants. The next in line is China at 6%. So right now Mexico is the issue, which is why I wanted to talk about them tonight.
Do you think China, the immigrants that are coming over here are coming over here because they want to get over here, because China sent them over here?
I think China sent them here.
Yeah.
The main reason Mexican residents come to this country is improving their economic situation. It comes down to making money, the dream of having a better life, just as we American citizens want. Mexicans
Easy to use.
Mexicans make up the largest group of immigrants living in this country, about 37 million of the nation's overall Hispanic population as of 2021. See, this is what Vice President Harris should have been doing, getting to the root cause. But as we've seen, she's been a failure, just like this current administration, by letting over 6 million people in so far. This is an issue that newspaper journalists and media outlets should be looking into and reporting about. But they'd rather brainwash into thinking that we the people are stupid.
Or just not covering it at all.
Right. Like the Hunter laptop.
Yeah.
As I see it...
And the Durham report?
Yeah. As I see it, this country can do two things. Secure our borders, which I believe will never happen with our current politicians, or we can make Mexico the 51st state of the United States of America. This is also an issue we talk about in our book, Politicians Gaslighting Americans, which will be out soon.
Nice plug.
Like that, huh? In 2022, Mexico had a population of about 129 million people. The 10th largest population around in the world. And the third most in the Americas after the U.S. and Brazil. They got a lot of people. Adding that many people would benefit the United States. Annexing Mexico would establish more easily defensible borders. Mexico borders Guatemala and Belize. So instead of defending 2,000 miles of border, our border protection agents could only deal with half that length. That's the first benefit. Our border patrol agents can handle immigration much easier. With Mexico part of the United States, business opportunities would become limitless. And Mexican citizens wouldn't have to move here since their economic situation would be better. The next benefit of adding 129 million people is a tax base. Some experts believe 30% can be added to the U.S. Treasury by adding that many people. That's a lot of money, folks. See, I really don't see any downsides to annexing Mexico as our next state. Listen, Biden's already let 6 million people, and how much more is he going to let in?
129.
You know, it might as well be part of the United States. I mean, cut down illegal immigration. How many people can come from Guatemala when you got it all secured now? We would be able to do more with cartels that are ruining our country, including Mexico. We would add more military personnel. Companies would invest in Mexico. And the locals could create their own jobs and stay there and raise their families. But they could still travel because they'd be part of America now. The Mexican people are hardworking. They're family-oriented and religious people. And we could help them building the Mexican economy, as well as that country where we could all go without a passport. Adding 129 million citizens to the U.S. will bring our population to over 450 million people. That sends a huge message to our adversaries. I think most of us agree that our politicians suck. And something must be done to stop this madness of illegal immigration. Yes, I think it's time we annex Mexico. What do you think, Jack?
Well, I don't know. Depends. If they do it like they did Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, it's going to be a money pit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they get all the benefits and we don't have a tax base.
No, they'd be a harder tax base.
They'd have, they'd have to figure out a way of doing it different than they did with Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands then. Because they get a representative in government, and Puerto Rico. That's why they won't become a United States state. They got the best of both worlds.
We'd have to make them a state. We'd have to make Mexico a state for it to work.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be able to be one state. It would have to be many states. I mean, 129 people, you got to figure that would have to add at least another 20 states to the United States.
Okay, that'd be fine.
I don't know. I don't know if the Mexican people want.
You can just create Mexico into one state.
I don't know. That's a pretty big state.
Right, it's a pretty big state.
But I don't know. I don't think Mexico's gonna go for it. Number one.
Right,
Number two, when we get in there, we got to get China out. So that might just open up open war with them because they're there. They're not shipping shit over there to Mexico without being there.
Yeah. I think it would benefit both countries if we did this.
I mean, it may, but I mean, it's a huge undertaking.
Well, absolutely. It won't happen overnight.
And I do believe that they're hardworking, family-oriented, religious society. You go on vacation. I don't go on vacation anymore right now because I don't want to get kidnapped and killed. But
what's the fun in that?
Well, it's an interference to my laying around doing nothing. But they're terrific. When you go on vacation, when the country's doing well and you can vacation without losing your life, they do very well on it. But then if they become a state, they have the same standards as the United States. Business they're going there because there isn't the same standard as the United States. You know, there's labor laws now that go down there, so it's not going to be as cheap for the companies to go down there and move and start things up there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're automatically going to go into the minimum wage of $7.25. You know, they're getting paid like $1.50 an hour now.
So it would benefit them.
Yeah, but again, you know, I don't. It'd be interesting to go back around and figure everything out, but
They should have a serious discussion about it. That's what I think.
I mean, they can. Again, I don't know if Mexico's going to go for it though.
No, I don't know.
They're going to be like, we didn't want to. They're going to like, remember Texas? You guys took that from us. We didn't. That was ours. Texas and California. What are you guys crazy? With the whole country?
They sold it to us.
Yeah.
All right, we're all out. I'm almost out of time. Any last words?
You got any last words?
Do you got anything?
No.
Just like I said, next week I'm gonna go over this. You know, I got like 3 or 4 more of these, and it's printed on both sides, so it's a lot of information. I didn't want to. I tell you, I just read it and it's criminal. Actually, I mean, this is what they make movies out of.
Right.
The complete wrong. Like this is a Tom Cruise movie where he goes and frees Americans out of some kind of crazy country because they're doing shit like this.
Oh, Mission Impossible stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Unbelievable. And you know, this is not 2 idiots like you and me saying we're going to take over the world. These were high-placed government workers saying, no, we're going to change the outcome of this. This has to have us involved in it. We got to take care of this. We have to make the country right. And they did, in their opinion, of what they were doing. And
There's a movie on that already. I forgot the name of it, where the media like actually chooses the president.
Yeah, I think it was called Dumb and Dumber.
Maybe.
Anyway, that's all I got.
I'll finish with this.
Okay.
If this country doesn't make some major change with immigration, we're in serious trouble. Tell your congressional members to stop their nonsense. Tell them to do their jobs to secure our southern border, or start the process of looking into adding Mexico as a state. Like I said earlier, more details in our book. We'll let you know the release date soon. I also want to add this. I hear every day that people of America are fed up and want change. But it's mostly talk. The heart is willing, but the flesh is weak. We can't afford to be, can't be afraid to stand up. We need to be actively involved. The black community has BLM and Antifa, and yet the rest of America just takes whatever it's thrown at us. No more, folks. See, we don't have an organization that can send hundreds of people to protest BLM or Antifa. You know what we need? A pissed off Americans organization. One that supports a better America for all of us.
We
Black,
have
white,
that.
male,
You know where they meet?
Where?
At the bar every night.
They gotta stop drinking too much then. These politicians will never stop dividing us. We're the only ones that can unite this country ourselves. And then we find the right people to be in government instead of these cowards we currently have in office. Do your research on these topics we talked about tonight, because knowledge is power. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.
Good job.